I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to go about this, but we will figure it out together, hopefully. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie and I have Invisalign now, so if I sound weird or have a lisp or something, that's the reason. I'm still getting used to talking with it in. So with that said, today we are here to do a tag that I've put off for a very long time. It is the quick to judge tag. I was tagged by LMA Book Club and Spill the Reads, so I will link their videos down below as well, so please go check them out. And I'm doing a little twist to this because I feel like it. I will see how it goes. I don't know if it will actually work out. But basically the quick to judge challenge is you pick your next read by reading the first chapter of a bunch of books and then picking your favorite one based on that. So I will be doing that, but I will be doing it in a bracket style challenge. So I'll be pitting 2 books against each other. I have 8 total, so it'll be first off like 4 rounds and then 2 rounds and then the final round. So hopefully we'll get through this quickly. You'll get the readings the first 4 rounds, but I obviously won't really read them again because you don't need that, but I will compare the vibes of the book and then figure it out that way. So I will try to put these together. I have the 5 books that are left on my summer TBR, the Weird Girl summer TBR. So that's some of these, and then I have one on my ebook on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll be reading off of that, and then a few other ones. So I don't know, maybe I'll do this with that, and then these 2. Yes, okay. So I think I'm ready to get started. So the first 2 books that are pitted against each other are Hungerstone by Kat Dunn and Emma by Jane Austen. I know they're probably not similar, but they all have like a kind of older vibe. I think this is about Carmilla, I believe, or adjacent to Carmilla's story. So older book. So we'll do it that way. A lot of these like don't make sense to get paired up. I just paired them up because why not? So for Emma, I will start with and read the first page. Apologies, I will be messing up my reading because of my retainers. So bear with me. Do I want to read the chronology, further reading? There's a lot of the novels of Jane. Okay, we're at Emma. Volume 1, Chapter 1. Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever, and rich, with a comfortable home and happy disposition, seemed to unite some of the best blessings of existence, and had lived nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her. She was the youngest of the 2 daughters of a most affectionate, indulgent father, and had, in consequence of her sister's marriage, been mistress of his house from a very early period. Her mother had died too long ago for her to have more than an indistinct remembrance of her caresses, and her place had been supplied by an excellent woman as governess, who had fallen little short of a mother in affection. So technically those first 2 paragraphs. I'm going to read as much as I want out of these because sometimes the paragraphs are super short. So that's the first book. Initial thoughts. What I would expect of a Jane Austen book. I like that she's 21, like an adult person. I feel like all of her main characters are, but I don't know, I haven't read all of them, but it's nice that we don't get like a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old. So I'm very curious about Emma Woodhouse. So I'll leave it at that. That's Emma. And next we have Hungerstone. So let's figure out what this one is about together. Part 1, It Is Not the Dead You Should Fear. Chapter 1. It starts with blood. In the middle of the night, I wake like a hound scenting the fox in a place... Okay, we're starting off strong. I get it now. Okay, I'll start over again. It starts with blood. In the middle of the night, I wake like a hound scenting the fox and place a hand between my thighs. It comes away sticky and dark. I used to feel grief about it once. Now I am numb. A task my body gives me to dispense with. A rag, the awkward fumble with my safety pins, and the belt that will lie against my skin for 5 days, bringing up rashes around my unused belly and hips. Starting off with the period. Cool. I have no idea what to expect with this book, other than there's probably a lot of blood in many different forms. So between these two, I'm very curious about Emma, but I feel like I would want to read more of this to figure out what's going on, because it's just such a interesting way to start a book. So Hungerstone wins this round. So round 1 complete. Okay. Round 2, we have The Unworthy by Augustina Basterica, which has been like the next on my list for many times now, and I just haven't picked it up, so maybe this will be the time. And then that is versus Blob, A Love Story by Maggie Sue. Very different books, I think. One is more horror, and this one's more like weird love, I guess, with weird things or beings, I guess. So I'm going to start with The Unworthy. Someone is screaming in the dark. I hope it is Laura's. I put cockroaches in her pillow and sewed up the slips so they struggle to get out. So they crawl under her head or over her face and into her ears. I hope nesting there, the nymphs damaging her brain. I left small gaps between the stitches so the cockroaches could escape slowly, so it would take effort, like when I trapped them, imprisoned them in my hands. Some of them bite. They have flexible skeletons. They can flatten themselves and fit through tiny spaces. Live without heads for days, survive underwater for a long time. They're fascinating. I like to experiment with them. Cut off their antennae, their legs, stick needles in them. I squash them with the glass so I can linger over their primitive, brutal flames. I boil them, I burn them, I kill them. Sorry. I already love this. This is insane. Very Augustina, I will say. Okay, this might be hard to beat. But we have Blob. It says, for my family and fellow blobs. That's cute. Okay, chapter 1. It's May, freshly turned and drizzling, when I find the Blob outside a dive bar. A beige gelatin splotch the size of a dinner plate sits next to a trash can, tucked between glass shards and chewed gum. It reminds me of the slime I made as a kid with my brother, a concoction of Elmer's glue, baking soda, shaving cream, contact lens solution, food coloring, and water. Before Alex abandoned me for the neighborhood boys with their N64s and X-Men cards, we spent hours sticking it on each other and peeling it off. Okay, she finds the Blob already. I am still very intrigued about this book, but like, I don't know. My initial reaction to this is just, it's so me. So The Unworthy wins this round. Round 3 is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey and My Husband by Maud Ventura. I don't have a physical copy of My Husband, so I will be reading it off of my computer, but I'll start with Migrations, which I'm very curious about. I was not expecting to add this to this list, but here we are. The animals are dying. Soon we will all be alone. Nope, that is not what it said. The animals are dying. Soon we will be alone here. Once my husband found a colony of storm petrels on the rocky coast of the untamed Atlantic. The night he took me there, I didn't know there were some of the last of their kind. I knew only that they were fierce in their night caves and bold as they dove through moonlit waters. We stayed a time with them, and for those few dark hours, we were able to pretend we were the same, as wild and free. Once when the animals were going, really and truly, and not just in warnings of dark futures, but now, right now, in mass extinctions we could see and feel, I decided to follow a bird over an ocean. Maybe I was hoping it would lead me to where they'd all fled, all those of its kind, all the creatures we thought we'd killed. Maybe I thought I'd discover whatever cruel thing drove me to leave people and places and everything, always, or maybe I was just hoping the bird's final migration would show me a place to belong. Once it was the birds who gave me birth to a fiercer me. Interesting. Definitely a different vibe from all the other books I've read so far. And we have our last Weird Girl book that it's paired against, so this will be a little hard, I would say. So I will start with the prologue of My Husband. The air is shimmering, the kitchen bathed in sunlight. I hear the shutters opening in the bedroom. The children on the stairs, the house awakens. My children take their bowls from their cupboard, asking me if I slept well. My husband turns on Brazilian music that pairs perfectly with the smell of toasted bread and the peaceful Sunday morning atmosphere. While I'm finishing my coffee, my husband leans toward me and whispers into my ear, "We need to find a moment to talk." Then, after a short pause, he adds, "It's important." I'm frozen, unable to say a word. It's over. That's the whole prologue. So that counts as a whole chapter, I guess. I don't know. This one's hard. Like, I'm curious about my husband, but like this one feels like very deep and like it will make me feel things like lit fic usually does. Even though I feel like technically my husband is lit fic. I don't know. Who knows where to draw the line between like weird lit fic, fiction. It's all the same. I feel like it all wraps up into the same at this point, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with migrations this round, surprisingly. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I made my decision. Last round, we have, and this one will be pretty tough, I think, because I really do want to get to both of these. But we have The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin, which is the start to a trilogy, and I am desperately wanting to read something else from her, and this is also on my 2025 list, so I should read it. And then next is a newer release, but I just finished another book from her, and I remembered how much I enjoyed her writing, and that is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. So I'm obviously not going to talk about what any of these are about because we're all going to experience the first few paragraphs or first paragraph together. So let's do it. Starting with The 100,000 Kingdoms. I should have picked this up so long ago. Chapter 1, titled Grandfather. I am not as I once was. They have done this to me, broken me, opened and torn out my heart. I do not know who I am anymore. I must try to remember. My people tell stories of the night I was born. They say my mother crossed her legs in the middle of labor and fought with all her strength not to release me into the world. I was born anyhow, of course. Nature cannot be denied. Yet it does not surprise me that she tried. Kind of love that. You know, I love that vibe for fantasy. This is a fantasy if you hadn't figured that out yet. I think these are the only two fantasies on the list. That's why I paired them together, right? I guess, like, does vampires count as fantasy? I don't know. Or does Blob count as fantasy? I mean, someone could make a case for that probably. So yeah, this is intriguing. And so now we have Forgery of Fate. My very pretty edition. Okay, we got a pretty map. Chapter 1. Mama used to fancy herself the best fortune teller in Gangsan, that is, until Baba disappeared at sea. Her talent was in reading faces. She could divine someone's lifespan from the texture of their hair, whether they'd be faithful lovers from the way their mouth slanted. Too often she'd go up to strangers and pinch their earlobes, for that was her way of gauging how prosperous they'd become. Mama loved nothing more than money. I'll read one more paragraph, because I need more. With such a gift, you'd think that Mama could have married the richest merchant she could find. Certainly not Baba, a middling trader with blue hair, grand dreams, and 9 coppers to his name. But no matter how my sisters and I begged, neither would ever tell the story. All Mama would say with a sniff was, "Foreign faces are harder to read. Had I known your father would chase adventures over riches, she'd still have picked me," Baba finished for her one autumn morning. His eyes twinkled. "Your mother knew from the start what I was." Oh, what I was? Who is he? It's fantasy, so I don't know what this world is, but I'm intrigued. But I think I'm more intrigued by 100,000 Kingdoms, which I'm happy about because I need to read it. Okay, so for the second round of the bracket, we have 4 books now. We have Hungerstone, The Unworthy, Migrations, and The 100,000 Kingdoms. So, how am I going to pair these against each other? This is gonna be hard. Okay. See, this is where, like, I don't know how this works logistically, but we're gonna do it anyways. Okay, I'm just gonna put these, like, behind me and, like, pick 2 random ones, like, without touching them. Oh, okay. Okay. I got The Unworthy and Hungerstone. Hungerstone talked about period blood. This one talked about cockroaches. Hate one, like, have to barely deal with another one. Can you guess which one is which? That's a trick question. So I think I have to go with cockroaches. And that's the one I hate. Period blood, obviously, I have to deal with occasionally. So. No, I guess I could have cockroaches and also hate my period, but which is also kind of accurate. Well, I don't have cockroaches. That's like my biggest fear. In my old place, I would get it like once a year, and it was like literally the bane of my existence, and I hated it. But I lived on a ground floor, so it wasn't really their fault. Okay, but I am going with The Unworthy because it made me laugh out loud while reading it to you. So I think that wins a little bit. Okay. So that leaves the other two books, Migrations and The 100,000 Kingdoms. And it's not Migration's fault. I just feel like I'm more in the mood for a fantasy maybe. I read a lot of Weird Girl Lit recently. This is not Weird Girl Lit, but this is like literary fiction. That I feel like I need something a little more fun. I mean, the Weird Girl Lit is fun, but like it's been a while since I've read fantasy. I mean, I did read one last month, but still. I'm rambling, but I'm very curious about this one, about like what her destiny is kind of, or what her role is for like her mom not wanting to even give birth to her, versus following birds, which also is like super cool and interesting. So I am interested in this one. I just think 100,000 Kingdoms will win. And so we are at the final round of the bracket. We have our two books right here, 100,000 Kingdoms and The Unworthy. They're both on my 25 to read in 2025 list. Yay me! Claps for me. I didn't plan that. So I will be checking something off the list. Okay, cockroaches and kind of a person that put them in someone's pillowcase. And then a girl whose mother didn't even want her to be born. I think girl. Or the grandfather. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it is our main character or not. So, lots of questions. Put it in the comments below which one you think I'll select. Before I actually tell you, you gotta go put it and see if you were right. That's more fun, right? Okay, this is like a lot harder than I thought it would be, because these both sound really great. And I think I'm gonna surprise myself and not go with the book that I like thought I would go with. And that I think I'm gonna go with The 100,000 Kingdoms. So I've been putting this off for a very long time, so that's partially a reason why I'm gonna pick it. But I'm also very intrigued. And I have also been craving like adult fantasy in my life for a while, and it's been a minute. I feel like not cozy fantasy or like YA, like adult fantasy, which I think this is adult fantasy. We'll see. I'm pretty sure she writes adult fantasy. So I'm gonna read this one, and maybe if I like it, I'll read the rest of the series as well. Should I do a reading vlog, anyone? Maybe? Any takers? Let me know if that is of interest, to see if you want me to complete like all three like I did for the Poppy War, which, to be fair, okay, this is not like the longest book ever. It's like 412 pages, but you know, as fantasy goes, the other ones are probably longer. But this will not be hard to get through, I think, hopefully. So, this is what we are doing. If you liked this twist on the Quick to Judge challenge, let me know. You know, I love a good bracket. I mean, I picked my favorite book of the year bracket style, so I'm always down for a bracket, and I will add a bracket to anything if I can, and it makes sense too. So I think this worked out though. I don't think it went horribly wrong like I thought it might, but we got where we wanted to. I will probably pick this one up right after, maybe, because it's so short that I can easily throw it in like between books. But I say that about like literally everything, and that never happens. So obviously I want to read all of these on the list, and we'll get to them when I get to them. But here we got our bracket style elimination. Here's all the losers. Haha, losers. And then we got our winner. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.